So thanks, ladies, very much, and kudos to you. Congratulations for putting together this event. You know, they sold out in 2.5 days, 2.5 days. So way to go. No pressure, but we better deliver. So I'm going to just share just a very concise, mini version of my story, and I think it'll be more fun when we get to some sort of questions and answers. But I have a question for you folks. So how many people are here because you heard about this, or you know Sam or Katie? So this is wonderful. A lot of supporters. How many are interested in the topic about meeting people, hearing about forging your path so that you can stay and be here? How many want to be here? That's awesome. I mean, not here tonight, but here. How many people, and be honest with this, how many people have at some point in the past few years been involved in a job or school or something that they just didn't really necessarily love or wonder or feel like they belonged, weren't loving it? Okay, so that's it. I'm glad to see that. What's that? Two heads there. Okay. Yeah. So I guess my thesis or my saying, as you know, is go where you're loved, and it's not about just love as in kisses and hugs love, but it's about going and doing things and being with people that make you feel good and whole. There's a saying, your vibe attracts your tribe. So finding your tribe. So I'm going to get to that in a minute, but just a little bit about me. I grew up in Halifax from a young age, around 7 or 8 we moved here, and then went to the Mount, took the public relations program. I am so old that I was in the first graduating class. So I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but it was many years ago, and I had. We came out, we didn't know what we were doing because they'd never had graduates of the public relations program at the Mount. So we found our way and found our jobs, and we didn't really know what we were doing ourselves. But I was so lucky. I was hired by Neptune Theatre. And so at 20 years of age, I had a dream job being the public relations person for Neptune. Didn't know what I was doing, truly didn't, but we found our way. From there, I was offered a position 3 years later at the Children's Hospital, another super dream job where they said, the Pope is coming and we need you to organize his visit. And I went, okay, sure. And there's a telethon that we think we want to get involved in that will hopefully raise money. And I don't know if anybody's aware of the Children's Telethon, but it's 30-some years running, and it's raised millions, tens of millions of dollars for the Children's Hospital. So again, dream job. I was very, very lucky. And in that pathway, got to be with people, got to work with people and volunteers and colleagues that really kind of shaped my opportunities. Was invited to be involved as a volunteer with different organizations, and I would say yes as often as I could. And then after the IWK, was invited to join this company where eventually I became one of the owners. And there, again, we got to create an environment of colleagues and work with dream people and dream clients. And so as I sort of look back and think about what has made, has it been luck? Has it just been lucky me, or do you kind of shape your destiny? And it comes back to what I believe in, which is go where you're loved. So in other words, don't do things that bring you no happiness. I mean, we all have to take stats or finance or whatever it is that we have to take that we don't like, or maybe you like it and that's good for you. But there are things that we have to do, and you just have to put your head down and get through it, and say to yourself, I'm going to get through this. And maybe you don't like swimming, but you like triathlon, so it sucks that 1/3 of what you're doing sucks, but you have to do it. But generally, find ways to go in pursuit of things that make you feel good and make you feel that love. I'm just going to read what I wrote here so I don't forget it. It has many meanings. It's about choosing the right paths, surrounding yourself with the right friends, choosing to live in certain places and travel to certain places. I mean, what's not to love about being here today when it's -15? Like, who would want to leave here? We love it here. But pursuing the best for you, business opportunities or career opportunities, business partners, choose who you want to be with as much as you can, and life partners and so on, and friends. The go where your love thing is, like, why get up every morning and smash your head against a wall? Why be in relationships that make you just feel so yucky? And I mean business relationships or partnerships, or, why take courses that are painful? I mean, you got to have the courage to get through some of that stuff, but for the most part, go where things make you feel good and whole, and go be with people that make you feel good and whole. And I think the only other thing is about that, back to the courage thing, choose your businesses and your friendships and your partners based on feeling good about yourself, fulfilling yourself. I'm happy to answer later, but also have some courage that you've got to face some tough people and situations. So you lean into the adversity, but you come out the other end learning from it. And that, to me, has taken me even closer to where I best love and feel the best about myself. So that's all I'm going to say right now. A little bit about me and a little bit about what I believe, but I'm happy to talk to you and answer any questions, and can't wait for the dialogue. But I'm going to hand it over to Elana.
Do I have to use a mic? I yell at people for a living.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, my hands will shake and they'll see that. So can you hear me? Yeah, okay. So thank you. You are in the presence of pretty amazing women. I know both of them. I'll tell you a little bit about Sheena, because she's actually part of my story. And Janet came in, I'll tell you how I'm actually in this room. Janet came into the studio. I own a gym called Cyclone. It started as Cyclone Cycling, it's now called Cyclone Group Fitness. Janet came running in and said, "Oh, I have this idea, my daughter's doing this thing." And I said, "Okay, cool, thanks, Janet, and that's really nice." Anyways, and then I got the call. And I said, "Are you sure?" And I asked the girls, who are doing amazing things, so congratulations. I wear sweatpants for a living. And they said, "No, we really want to hear your story." So here I am. And I'll give you a little bit about a background about me. Yeah, I am, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe you know a more educated spin teacher, but it's true. I have 2 law degrees, and I'll sort of backtrack about that. And then I'll tell you about Be the Inspiration and why that means so much to me. So I do have 2 law degrees. I was born in Toronto, and I went to Western to do my undergrad in kinesiology, which my parents were like, "Why?" So anyway, okay. And then I went and did a law degree, and they're like, "Okay, why?" Because you did kinesiology. Graduated, did the whole Bay Street thing, ended up doing child protection law, and which was pretty amazing, actually. It was the last thing I did before I left Toronto, and which has stayed with me for good reasons. I mean, it was terrible, but I did a baby inquest. A baby had died, and so I was one of the counsels for the Children's Aid Society. And that has shaped me, and talk a little bit about that, but that was the last thing, and then I moved to Halifax. Moved to Halifax, got a couple jobs, decided to do my Master's of Law, which was why, again, why am I doing this? I truly loved it. I did it in child protection in the charter, and just a quick about the Master's of Law. Noah, who's here with me, he's awesome. So actually, Noah was with me when I graduated. Most of the people who graduated that year in 2004, I guess, were about your age, young and happy and excited about law. Couldn't tell them otherwise. And I was 9 months pregnant with Noah. So I was older than everybody else, and I was the size of a small house. It was a very crowning moment, talking 200 and X pounds. But anyways, so Noah was with me when I graduated, and he's here today. And then I got a couple jobs, I don't know, doing various things, working in the courts, and then I ended up at the Barrister Society teaching law, which I loved. and circumstances will have it, and I can talk about it later, but that I ended up leaving there. And it was in 2011, June. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I was teaching hydro riding at the time. Anybody know what hydro riding is? Right? Why would you? Because it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. But we were.
Can I guess what it is?
Yeah.
Is it spin bikes in a pool?
Yes. Yeah. I don't think you'll find it anywhere now, so don't even look. And so I was teaching hydro riding, teaching a little spin, at the Y. And I said to my mom, we went to Florida exactly 4 years ago at this time, and I said, Mom, I'm going to open up a spin studio. She's like, what? Why? Again, I'm always getting the why, so I said, just trust me. Long story short, I opened up a spin studio, the first of its kind. There were other, spin gym, like there's spin bikes in different places, but this was sort of an exclusive, like the first real spin place. I'm from Toronto, and these existed in Toronto. Soul Cycle was just coming out, and I thought, I can totally do this. Turns out it was a good decision, but a spin gym wouldn't have survived, to be honest with you. And in 2014, we decided to expand, and we now are Cyclone Group Fitness. We offer everything, and it's a really cool place. So that's my story really fast. I don't know why you didn't have glasses, but I had to have glasses. So well, your print was bigger than mine. So, okay, here we go. So my beauty inspiration, I don't need them right yet. My beauty inspiration are the words I live by. I live by it every day. I live by it by my actions. I try and instill those words in my children, my friends, my family, my surroundings. So I write blogs. I think these four read it. Maybe one. I know my mom reads it, so there's fun. Sheena might read it. So be the inspiration. So I figured, why reinvent the wheel if I can read it to you? Okay, so it's a blog, and it talks about just different pieces of advice. And I said, and here's the big one, my guiding light. My value system rolls into 3 words. Whether you're in the middle of a spin class or in the middle of a traffic jam, whether you're speaking to 100 people or watching your child's basketball game, believe that someone is watching you, not in a creepy way. That was actually the title of the blog. Perhaps they are watching you for signs of compassion. Perhaps they are seeing how you handle confrontation. Perhaps they are looking to you to give them the energy to go 3 steps further. I've come to live this more recently. I imagine my kids are watching my every move, and of course they're not, but if they were, would I have made them proud by my actions or words? Would they have learned a lesson in respect and kindness? Would they use such lessons to become leaders and in turn become the inspiration for others? Obviously, we can't always be on our best behavior. This was written during the snow last April, and I swore a bunch, and anyways, not a great example. But by trying to stick to the main values of loyalty, compassion, perseverance, respect, and humility, we can truly aim to be the inspiration. So that's those are the words I live by. I just wanted to give a few examples, because Sheena's actually part of the story. So I talked about spin class. Do I have like a couple more? Okay, no, I feel like I'm talking really fast. So I talk about spin class, and I use this in a class often. I'll say, we're climbing up a hill, and imagine all 21 people are in this room, and they're looking at you, and they're watching you to see, can you do this? Are you going to be, am I the one who's leading these? And I ask riders to sort of tap into that. So that's very micro. A little bit bigger, I teach a mommy and baby fitness class, and Sheena was one of the first ones with the most gorgeous child ever. Follow her on Instagram, because you see this beautiful child. Who's one of my favorites, but don't tell the other ones. Anyway, so I love it, and it's an amazing class. But one of the things that I think about is, these babies, they're less than a year old. They don't take it in that their moms are living healthy lifestyles and doing this, but they will look back on pictures. So we take a lot of pictures, a lot of videos, and Sheena is acting as that inspiration for Ruthie. So later on in life, so that's a little bit bigger. I guess I did, but we created this fundraiser called Barrel for the Bar. Any guys in here, you're tapped into that, do it next year. But long story short, it was 15 guys in the basement or in the back of the gym raising money for Prostate Cancer Canada. We secured a national sponsor, and we raised it to 100 guys last year, and our hope is to take it across the country. So we have all these guys getting out of their comfort zones and being the inspiration for other guys. Noah did it, being the inspiration for his friends. John did it, and now you guys will have to do it next year. And then the last thing that, just on a business level, I just started this initiative, I guess, called Pending Fitness, and you can go read about it. But the idea is that companies or businesses or groups buy a fitness class, and in turn, they sponsor a fitness class for another group or organization that might not have regular access to fitness. I'll give you an example. We just did a fitness class yesterday, MEC, And the North End Runners did a fitness class with me, and they sponsored a group from Hope Blooms to come to do a fitness class yesterday. That's where I said I would start crying. So, so Hope Blooms came yesterday, but 7 teenage girls, and they ran in the back, and they were jumping up and down. And then at the end, the organizer, the program coordinator said, we're going to buy a class and give it to somebody else.
Oh, that's so
Yeah, so it was
awesome.
really cool. Okay. Yeah, that's it. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm so invested in your story, I forget my own right now. Okay, so, yeah, I moved here like almost 10 years ago, which blows my mind. I grew up on PEI, came over here, just to do the university thing, didn't know really what it had in store for me. I was pretty stoked about taking some environmentally themed education, but didn't really know where it would lead me. And through all that, I got my bachelor's, met a guy, ended up sticking around, bought a house. Now we live in Dartmouth, and he's from Dartmouth, but I ended up settling in Dartmouth because that's also where I got my first kind of fresh out of university job, which was, believe it or not, more or less like digging through trash for the city. Actually, my official title was Waste Resource Education Officer. I'm not even joking. What I would do, honestly, was work a lot with apartment buildings and like do waste audits on their garbage and like dig through garbage bags and like this is what I was doing with my environmental science degree. Like, yeah, crazy. So, needless to say, I was eager to find something else that nurtured my desire to make a difference in some way, or just even have some fun. You know, like really.
Just go where you're loved.
Go where I'm loved. Yeah. Dumpsters, I didn't feel loved. Didn't feel loved. So at the time, I was working with a girl who became a friend and is now my business partner. And we just said, we used to go to the gym together. This would have been like 2011, 2012-ish. And we were just like, wouldn't it be cool if, I literally look back on the email chain from like early or late 2011, and you can see where like we first had the conversations, like wouldn't it be cool if we started doing something fun like making healthy snacks and taking them to the Albany market, because we worked in the Albany building. Wouldn't that be cool? And we were like, oh yeah, that would be cool. And then it just snowballed. It was like this crazy leapfrog of accountability, right? Like, well, it's moving and you're not slowing it down and I'm not slowing it down, so this is just happening. Do you guys know that feeling?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're at the farmer's market and you have these bars, and things just really took off for us. I got really excited about taking on the role as kind of like the voice of the social media. It's something that I thought was really fun, and I ended up being like kind of good at it. So yeah, we built a real name for ourselves at the Halifax and Dartmouth Farmers Market and developed these bars that were made with like 90% maritime grown or produced ingredients, and got to know all these amazing producers and farmers and people in the local food community here, and all of a sudden it just became so much more than just snacks. You know, it really was. We were building a web of awesomeness with all of these really fantastic small farmers and food producers, and then also our customers. Like, we really ended up forming this really amazing supportive community around us as a brand, and it kind of started taking on a feeling almost as a movement in addition to a product. So that was all dandy. Things were growing, things are growing. Kathy and I are both still working full-time with the city at this point. So we were both working 40 hours a week with the city, baking at Tibbs in Halifax, 205C in Halifax, down at the waterfront on Monday nights after work, packaging on Tuesday nights after work, doing our deliveries on Fridays after work, going to the Seaport Market and the Albany Market from like 6 a.m. to like 4 p.m. on Saturdays, and then on Sundays doing like accounting. So I was working like 70 hours a week for like 2 years. And I don't know why, but I didn't lose my mind. It was amazing. We like it was nuts, but awesome. So we busted our butts for a long time, and it came to the point where we were kind of growing up and started to have babies and all that jazz. So my business partner had her son first, and then I kind of took the reins on the business, and from there on I was like, okay, I need to decide whether I'm going to go full on with this thing, or what is it going to be? Like, what is this business even going to be? Because I need to make a decision at some point. You know, you can't just work and not have some kind of goal in mind. And for the longest time, we just kind of kept on doing it because it felt good. So I ended up getting pregnant with my daughter, and then we were like, okay, so you're too fat to reach the counter to bake, I'm too fat to reach the counter to bake. We need to find a solution here to at least that one piece of the business. So, like, so many crazy serendipitous things have happened to us in our business life, and this is definitely one of them. So around the time where I was like, okay, this is crazy, I need to figure out some way for us to get our products produced without me being the one that does it. And I get a phone call from a lady with like a voice like Mother Goose. She's like this beautiful, like angelic human. And she says like, hi, I'm Lisa, and I run a company called The Flower Cart. We're based out of the Valley, and we have this amazing kitchen program that employs people with various barriers to employment. We would love to learn more about your product and find out if there was any way that you would ever consider working for us. And I was like, did that just actually happen? So we went down there, and they took over production for us, and it was this really, really awesome, convenient thing that happened. And we were just so stoked to be able to let go of what we ended up at a certain point finally really having some contempt for was going in Monday night and trying to bake. We didn't want to be doing that anymore. So that was an awesome piece of the business to kind of hand off. So that would have been in like May of 2014 because I was super pregnant. And then my daughter happened, and then it was the winter of 2014, 2015. Does anybody really remember what last winter was like? Because it was terrible, like the worst. To be home with a small baby, to have a business that relies on people leaving their house to go buy food. There's a lot of shit going on. Like, it's hard being at home with a little kid. That really was hard on the brain. And our sales were like, murr. And I was like, what is going on? Like, what am I doing? What is going on? So again, like this one day, I'm sitting there, it's like March, there's like 17 feet of snow outside, like actually. And I checked this old email account that I hadn't touched in like 6 months, that I needed to find some like ugly tax paper or something, because that was around that season. And I see an email from my contact at ACOA, who I've worked with in the past to get little chunks of funding. And she's like, Sheena, I really want to connect you with my friend Dorothy Spence. You know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I want to connect you with this lady, Dorothy. She's really awesome. She's a business coach. I think you guys should go have a coffee. So Dorothy comes over to my house. I have a small child. I do not have my shit together. The house is like anyway, I have no idea who she is. Like, I have no idea. I'm like, sure, come over for a coffee. I don't even know who you are. Come on over. I need some coffee. Come just sit with me. So she comes in, she sits down, she said, tell me about your business. And I started talking about the business and how things have been going, and things were okay. But then I started talking too about, it's one really cool thing about our business is that we work with the social enterprise to do our production for us. And it's a really amazing program, and we're really getting to know a lot of the women who work in this production facility, and it's just, that for me is a really amazing thing. And then, but our revenues and blah, 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 and I kind of rambled on more about other bits of the business that aren't all that important in that moment. And anyway, all these other things happened. She left my door open when she came in the house. My dog ran up the street. I left her with my 8-month-old daughter so I could go catch my dog. Like, it was a ridiculous meeting. And I said, okay, what's your deal, Dorothy? Like, who are you? She lists off these incredible, she's a big deal. And she is now my North Star, my business coach, my friend, my mentor. She's completely been a really amazing addition to my life that happened totally randomly by me checking an email that was 6 months old. But after that first meeting, we got together again. I was wearing pants. It wasn't at my house. It was much better. And she's like, all right, so that was crazy, and we need to have a conversation about something that you said amongst all of the grief that you talked about when we first got together about those women at your production facility. I need to push you on that. Tell me more, talk about it, stream of consciousness, just go. So I did. I cried all these things happened, all these crazy, you know, like aha moment on steroids. She said, that's your why. That, all that other shit, like just set it aside for now, like that is your why. You need to know from here on out that you employing these women who have all different sorts of things that are holding them back from participating in kind of like the regular workforce, like those women are the reason why you're here today and why you are doing what you're doing, and you didn't realize that you started this granola bar company for them, but you did. So yeah, that was last spring, so not even quite a year ago, and our business at that point was doing fairly measly business, and now we're just about to get into 85 sodas with one of our products, and we have our like it's nuts, like the seismic shift in our company from like, oh, I guess I should make a sales call today, and oh, you know, that supplier is like late, or oh, I need cheaper nut butter, all that stuff. Like, it doesn't matter. Like when I figured out that the why of our business was to empower women, especially, not exclusively, but especially in communities like where our social enterprise is, which is in the valley, minus like jobs aren't super aplenty. So to be able to give them an opportunity to change their lives is like, that's every phone call I make now to make a sale is like, okay, if I sell 5,000 more bars this month, we can hire another woman who is on their waiting list in their programs that's trying to get a job. So that is my why, and that's what governs me. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.